All right, hello. The news has been changing rapidly, and workout number 2 we will have for you today. They're going to be closing down everything. You got to stay at home, so now more than ever, we're going to be bringing you the videos so that you can keep your practice going while everybody's being safe at home. When I was talking with you guys a couple days ago, especially the kids' classes, I was saying about we don't need to be afraid. We just need to be very, very careful. And I think that bit of wisdom is now more important than ever. So don't be afraid. Just be very, very careful. Do the things that you have to do to be safe. And we'll be back at the school when it is all over and done with. So going on with the lesson for today, we're going to start off with our instructional part first, and then we'll go to the workout part with Rachel and Rebecca. They're here again today helping out on this. So today I would like to talk to you guys about self-defense, specifically the 4 levels of self-defense and the way in which we interpret that for how we do the things that are necessary when we're in a close quarter situation with an opponent. And close quarter meaning within 3 to 5 feet before the attack occurs. We have 4 levels of self-defense: block, hit, grab, throw, takedown, or a throw. When we're doing our self-defense moves, we have the option to not do all 4 parts, which is very important because that's one of the things that most self-defense techniques don't allow you to go through with your own interpretation. They will give you the information, and I mean they, like everybody who's going to teach you self-defense, they're going to give you the technique as it was given to them or as they've created it or as they interpret it. And when I say that we're all going to have to interpret our own self-defense, so let's do that from the very beginning. Number 1, if a person is going to be attacking you, you don't have to wait for them to get right up into your critical distance before you start doing your self-defense. We talk about this in all the different types of fighting that we do. We have an early defense, middle defense, late defense, and it's way easier to defend yourself against an opponent when that early defense, longer range information is given. You're aware that the person is attacking you, so we take the opportunity to defend ourselves early. It could be movement, it could be stance, it could be creating a barrier or throwing something at the opponent to cause a distraction for a moment as you're trying to escape. The second level, which is counterattacking, requires that you were not necessarily aware that the opponent was within range before the attack was made. And in most cases, a block won't work at that point because you're wasting time blocking instead of doing counterattack or an initiation attack. Counterattack, hitting, that's the second level. The third level, which is to grab a hold of the opponent, to engage with the opponent, get a hold of them in some way. And we all have these interpretations that we make on what it is that I need to be doing as I'm grabbing the opponent. I don't need to be standing still grabbing. I need to be moving while I'm grabbing, because moving and grabbing at the same time allows you to enforce momentum into the opponent's stance, into their defense, and making it more challenging for them to defend themselves while you're attacking them in defense. And then the last thing is the takedown. Takedowns are a technique of opportunity. We don't want to focus on a takedown if it compromises our own safety in the process. It may be better for you to abandon the technique and leave the opponent alone once you've gone through a portion of your self-defense so that you don't compromise yours by going to the ground with the opponent if they drag you down with them, or maybe you are not paying attention to another opponent in the room and they're the ones now attacking you. So using our mass attack philosophy, we keep moving. We keep moving so that we can see what's going on all the time. So as I'm defending or attacking or taking down a single opponent, I still have to use all of the resources that I'm using from all the different kinds of fighting so that I don't make the situation worse than if I had done nothing at all. Which is, by the way, one of the things that we can do in self-defense, which is simply don't do anything. And you may not escalate the fight, you may not de-escalate the fight, but you won't necessarily put yourself into a more compromising position if you had just stayed in a defensive position and done nothing at all. It isn't the best scenario from my opinion, but it is one of the options that we have. What we're trying to do is initiate from long range to middle range to short range. Those three ranges of movement and distance allow us to determine how fast the opponent's reactions are once we determine that they're trying to attack us. So if I'm in a fighting position and somebody's coming after me, and I wait for them to get into the range where they can make contact with me with just independent motion, reaching out, without giving them any other opportunities to defend against me, I'm just letting them inch closer and closer, and that's making it harder for me to do my defenses early. So what I want to try to do is, I'm noticing that the opponent is at that long range, I can attack them with the purpose of neutralizing their initial movement. If they're coming at me from distance, I can use crossovers, I can use independent motion, I can use spins, I can use fakes and deflections, and more importantly, I can just use movement to take the opponent's advantage away from them and bring it back to me. That's covering distance. So when you're trying to do something that is a self-defense technique in nature, you don't have to wait for the opponent to walk up, grab, or start hitting you. You can defend early. And that is a much greater opportunity for success than waiting for them to start drilling you by the time they've created that close quarter combat. Now, we did just talk about doing nothing. So the three things that we are always gifted with self-defense is we can defend ourselves, we can do nothing, and more importantly, one of the most effective self-defense techniques of all time is simply just to get away from the opponent. And I would say, not necessarily run away, but keep your vision in such a way that you're watching the opponent as you are trying to get away. Don't just turn your back on an opponent, especially if they've indicated they are going to engage with you. Keep your eyes on them, stay sideways, use your side lateral movements, your side shuffles, your crossovers to get away without exposing any of your center line from the front or the back. We want to stay safe even if we are trying to attempt to get away. Something else, and that is a homework assignment while you are stuck at your house. I want you to start working on your journal. I want you to get your karate journal, start making an entry in it every day, and here's the assignment that I have for you. I want you to write down an attack, something that the opponent is doing to you. A right punch, a left punch, a combination, a kick punch, a grab, a shovel to the head, crowbar to the face, whatever your attack is, I want you to come up with a different thing every single day. One page of your journal is going to be designated for a daily entry for my self-defense technique of the day. And you make it up. Create a technique. You have the opponent, you tell them what they're going to be doing, and then you defend against it. One of the best things that I ever did when I first started doing the self-defense concept is that I mandated to my students that we not just do what was on the list of techniques, but that we come up with our own moves. Tell me something that bothers you as a self-defense technique. Are you afraid of being choked? Are you afraid of being bear hugged or headlocked? Find out what bothers you, write it down, and then make up a self-defense technique for it. Later on, when you're looking back at the things that you've done during this time, or for that matter from the time you start your journal, how you evolve as a martial artist, how you evolve as a self-defense person. You can look back at those basic techniques or those first generation techniques, and as you start to become a better equipped fighter, you can then look back at those techniques with fondness and say, this is what I used to think about a right punch. I used to think it was just, block, grab, hit, throw, and that was it, because that's what somebody told me to do. But as it starts to evolve, we find out that, to not give you the final answer, because that's what this project is about, it's to find the answer for yourself. But the answer is, there's only one thing that you do in self-defense. It is one continuous flow. It is not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's from the beginning to the end, just one move. That's what I'm hoping that we find in our own practice, the way to get to self-defense quicker and more effective. More effective self-defense has got to be the number one thing for everybody. On everybody's list of to-dos, get better at self-defense. All right, so that's the lesson portion of the tape today. We're going to now do, Rachel and Rebecca are going to come out and they're going to work on their demonstration of the bread and butter, and the punching, and then we'll have them finish off with the slow kicks. So thanks again for tuning in today. If you have some suggestions, put them in the comments below, and we'll try to work to getting better on all of this. All right, so Rachel and Becca, you guys are up. I'll call out what we're doing. The first thing we're going to be doing on this is the bread and butter combinations. The first one is jab, cross, hook, right, cut, kick if you have your left side forward. The second one is uppercut, hook, cross, a switch step, and then a cut kick. So you guys go ahead and do each one of those. Rachel, why don't you focus on the number one, and Rebecca, you focus on number two, and then just do them for about a minute, and then we'll go on to the punching techniques right from there. All right, ready? Begin. Perfect. Okay, let's switch now to the punching list. The first one that we're going to do is the crossover jab. This one's done with the lead side. So begin, crossover, jab. Excellent. Try it again. Good independent motion on that one. Hit as soon as you can. Do one more. Next, the lunge punch. From the rear hand, do the punch and then step forward with the rear leg. Begin. Remember, Rebecca, step in on the opposite side to inside line of attack. There we go. Very good. Okay, excellent. All right, that's a good demonstration. So now let's do the previous two together. Jab, cross. Remember to step in on the same way that you did with the lunge punch. Jab and cross, step in. Not a crossover this time, but a step in. Closing the door. Close that door. Switch. There you go. That's it. All right, next one, and this one's a little bit of a difficulty because we're throwing a technique in at the end that sort of jams it up. So this is the jab, cross, exactly the way you did before, but then we're adding on a spinning back fist at the end. Very good. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, do that about 2 to 3 times. Perfect. Okay, so now let's do just the spinning back fist by itself. You're going to spin backward, and the strike comes from the hand that's on the rear side. So that's both you guys have left side forward, it's right hand. They're looking first before making contact with the strike. That way you're able to abandon the technique if you need to, and you can maintain your balance if you do it properly. All right, so now next one we're going to do is hyperextended side fist or hyperextended jab. Take your 5 to 6 steps back, and you're going to do a spin and slide for an independent motion strike. This technique can be done with punches or kicks. Today we're just demonstrating the punching version of it. All right, very good. Now double hyperextension. You're going to take an even further step back, and Rachel, you're really out of the lens as soon as you go right past the post. So if you can see the post, I can see you. All right, go. Double hyperextension. You can go a little bit further back than that. You're perfect. Right there. Not really giving you all the distance, but I can still see your start move. All right, this one's a little bit more difficult because what we're doing is we're doing a crossover, then a lunge punch. So it's 2 foot combinations together. Crossover, and then step into that. Oh, you're going past the opponent. Go to the, close the door. We want to set in so we have a follow-up, and that's moving to the inside line of attack. Perfect, there you go. That's the crossover lunge punch. I like to call this the running punch. Not my name for it, that's the name that my coach Sid G gave it. And he's taught a lot of fighters this technique with great success in the MMA and kickboxing world. Okay, we have a few more here, and that is, well, actually we decided we're going to stop from there. So next up we'll do slow kicks. So we'll take just a quick respite here to get the timer set up and the slow kicks. All right, you guys ready? We could have did this. We need to figure that out. So start with the front kick, back kick on the slow kicks. Front kick, back kick, and that's perfect the way you guys are set up so we can see the side and the front execution of it. Each 30 seconds we'll switch off, do a different kick. We're doing front kick, back kick on the first minute. We're going to do side kick, hook kick, wheel kick, and then finish off. Our last exercise for today's video will be holding the leg in the air because we hate our hips and legs and we want to make them suffer for bringing us in. Other leg. Who's probably had the hamster dance music because it's sort of... All right, side kicks. Got to keep everything interesting. Extra credit if you kick each other. Other leg. As we said in the last video where we were doing the slow kicks, if there's any exercise that you feel like doing on your own that has some of the greatest benefit for your entire body is the slow motion kicks. And I've been preaching this for the last year and a half almost exclusively, where we were doing hook kick is next. We were doing our slow kicks in every single workout. It is one of the few techniques that we can do by ourselves without a lot of cardio, but it works on full body workout, strength and everything, specifically in your abs and your hips and your legs. So if you don't do anything else in your workout and you just feel like doing slow kicks, do them every day between now and whenever we get back to the class. But other leg, we're going to be doing videos for you until such time as we are given the all clear. So while you're at home, take that opportunity to stay practicing, keep your strength up. That helps build a strong immunity to what's going on. So let's keep working on that. Wheel kick. Almost to the end of the workout today. Keep in mind that the things that we're experiencing in today's society, they're going to pass. We're going to get through this. Everyone's going to be better off at the end. So just follow the instructions that you've been given. Do your workouts on a daily basis, and we'll see you when you guys get back to the school. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Don't eat your boogers, and stop playing with your toes. All right, last one is hold the leg out to the side. This is a technique from Bill Wallace. We do this one in his workouts for about an hour. So only doing it for 30 seconds kind of seems like you're cheating. But it's really good for the whole body. So do that one at the end of each one of those slow kick routines. Other leg. From here, it looks like you're kicking Rachel's butt. All right, that's the end of it. I'll see you guys on Monday. We'll be posting videos every day until things get back to normal. Signing off.